Hello, my name is Mitiku Mamo. I am an extension educator for 4 Northeast Nebraska counties, Cedar, Dixon, Knox, and Wayne counties. Today I'm trying to interseed cereal rye in corn. The original plan was to use an interseeder that was supposed to have been delivered probably second week of May. Today I'm just using a dry fertilizer spreader that Dr. Charles Shapiro used in the past. It's called the Barber. Basically, I filled that with cereal rye and calibrated it, and I'm applying basically about 60 pounds, on average 60 to 63 pounds of cereal rye per acre. The corn is at V9, V8 on average. I can't wait any longer for the interseeder. I would have liked to have had that so that the seed will be below ground to have firm contact with soil so that it can get moisture. In this case, the risk is if it dries out, the seed is sitting on the surface, it may not get enough moisture to germinate, and even after it germinated, there may be a probability of it dying. But I just have to take a chance and interseed today. The soybean can wait, it's still short, I can get into it. I can wait further, longer for the interseeder to arrive. Okay, I'm here between 2 corn rows. This is the part I have planted cereal rye as a cover crop. The purpose of this is basically to look at the effect of these cover crops on the soil compared to the part that's not planted to cover crops. Usually, to look at the effect, what we do is we will have a control where we haven't planted cover crop, and then we have a section where we have put in the cover crops, and every year we will monitor what the soil structure looks like, what the organic matter content compared to the non-planted part. And then I have a collaboration with a professor in Lincoln in which we're going to monitor the water that's leaching below the root zone by capturing and analyzing and comparing basically the nutrient content of that water between areas that are planted to cover crops and areas that are not planted to cover crops. And here I have a time-lapse camera. Hopefully that will show us the growth development from beginning to until probably shortly before harvesting the corn. Hello everyone, my name is Mitiku Mamo. I'm a Nebraska Extension Educator in Cropping and Water Systems located here at Haskell Ag Lab. Today I am out here by a cover crop demonstration site, and I would like to talk about what cover crops are and what their benefits to the soil are. Cover crops have a lot of benefits. There is ample scientific evidence supported by data to indicate that cover crops have plenty of benefits to the health of the soil. Among those benefits is reduction in soil erosion. Soil erosion is really one of the factors detrimental to soil health, and this project is actually prompted by a rainfall event that occurred in 2018, and we had a really heavy rain, about 7-8 inches of rain in just a short time, that eroded most soils from adjacent field and dumped it onto my plot here. Basically, the ditch was filled with sediments, and it vertically tipped over and flew across the road and deposited a lot of sediment. So this project was prompted by that. So as I've said, one of the benefits of cover crops is reduction of soil erosion. Cover crops reduce soil erosion in 3 ways. For erosion to happen, the soil has to be detached and transported. So the leaves of the plants intercept raindrop or irrigation water and prevent the soil from the impact of these raindrops and irrigation water. And the stem of these cover crops reduces the flow velocity so that it gives the flow more time to infiltrate into the soil, and as a result there will be less sediment carried. And thirdly, the roots of these cover crops bind soils together and basically protect them from being detached. So it has a very, very important benefit in reducing erosion. The second benefit is also to improve biodiversity of the soil, both above ground and below ground. By above ground, what I mean is by adding cover crops in the rotation. We are basically diversifying the crop we have on the land, thereby reducing the effect of weeds and pests. Below ground, the roots of these plants provide food to the microorganisms that are in the soil, like bacteria and fungi. These bacteria and fungi convert residues into nutrients and basically make it available to the crop itself. This exudates that come out of roots also have a binding effect. They glue the soil particles together, so that also helps in the soil being stable, so they will give it a stable aggregate. And the bacteria and this fungi also serve as food for larger organisms that live in the soil, such as earthworms and other arthropods, who are really beneficial in working the soil to make nutrients in the soil available to these plants. The roots of these plants also aerate the soil. It's not just the earthworms that make the channels. The roots also make channels. As a result, these channels help water to infiltrate into the soil and reduce above surface runoff. Some of these cover crops, depending on what we plant, also help to reduce soil compaction, or if there was any soil compaction, maybe they break it. And they're also good in scavenging nutrients that are left after the actual crop is being harvested. They're basically utilizing the nutrient that's in the soil after harvest so that that nutrient doesn't go into the groundwater and pollute our groundwater, nitrate in particular. They also help to integrate. It will be easier to integrate cattle production and crop production. You know, these crops have a head start, especially if they are interseeded in the crop as soon as the crop is planted, maybe at V4, V5. Next spring, these crops will be there to be utilized as feed for grazing animals, and the animals' droppings, like the manure, will help fertilize the soil. So there will be benefit both ways. And also, these cover crops will suppress weed because they have already had a head start. They basically choke the weeds that are germinating from becoming viable and competitive. So cover crops have a lot of benefits. And of course, you know, it's not all pros. There are also some cons. Some of the disadvantages are, you know, it involves cost. Of course, it costs both, you know, money and labor to buy the seeds and plant them, and also terminate them when it's time to plant the actual crop, the cash crop. So you have to weigh the advantages and disadvantages when you look at what cover crops to use, whether cover crop is beneficial to you or not. All in all, from the literature, their benefit outweighs their disadvantages. So if you have any questions, I'll be available to answer. I can be reached at mmamo2@unl.edu. Thank you.